Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything coming at you with our very first Royal Gaming Network episode of From the Verse. And today we have with us our guest host of Paraset and of Cat's Lion. You'll hear their voices. They're on our TeamSpeak, and so you'll be able to hear their interactions. Later as we go, we might expand into video conferencing, and that way we can have everybody on the channel. But right now, I wanted to make some. No matter how you found us or how you found this, if you're watching it live, great. If you're watching it recorded, that's great. Come back and check us out. We're going to be doing this probably every Friday night. We're going to talk about a different topic, and tonight's main topic is capital ships. But before we get there, I want to make a few introductions. Paraset, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Lieutenant. What is it? What am I now? Lieutenant Commander? What am I? Lieutenant Colonel? Paraset.
That's right, Lieutenant Colonel Paraset. Yeah.
But I've actually been with Mr. Everything for a few years now.
Yeah, it seems like it.
As his ex.
Time flies.
Time flies. Time flies when we're having fun. But this being our very first live stream regarding Star Citizen, we're looking forward to. I'm sorry. I guess I got to talk about myself first, don't I? All right.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I've actually been playing. My gosh, I haven't been playing as much as Mr. Everything or Cat's Lion, but I was involved with a lot of board games. I did play Wing Commander. I played Wing Commander when it was one of those games that that you would actually buy and load onto your computer. But it's really cool what's happened. I mean, for me anyway, I remember dreaming about this. I remember dreaming about the day when we would have people from all over the world playing against each other, playing with each other, coordinating with each other. So for me, this has been a dream come true. This is really cool. Cats, your turn.
That's right, Cat's gone.
All right, hi everybody. I'm Cat's Lion. I'm the commanding officer of the merchant group, or the major of the merchant group.
Both would be correct.
Yeah. I am pretty much going to be in charge of doing everything that has to deal with shipping cargo, receiving cargo, taking care of any money issues that we have, bringing in the money for the group, and anything that really has to do with the money. That's going to be kind of my thing, my bread and butter, basically. So pretty much what I've been doing to try and get ready for this game is...
Hold on. Who are you? You're jumping topics.
Let's see, who am I?
Who are you? Who is Cat's Lion?
Who is Cat's Lion? Well, my name's Mitch. I live in Utah.
Okay. Normal regular days, I'm an apprentice electrician, or more of a laborer actually, but oh, cool.
So my days pretty much get up, work, go home, and try and stay awake for the next 3 hours before I go to bed. So not too much of an exciting life, but it gets me by. But yeah, that's pretty much my life. That's who I am.
Okay. Well, let me tell you who I am. My name is Colonel Mr. Everything, and I've been gaming for quite some time. I started playing when the first Wing Commander came out. I was playing that on my, I don't know what it was, a 486, a long time ago, and had a few different units, a few different guilds, and some of the games have fallen apart, so those guilds have kind of fallen apart with it. So, but hopefully with the Star Citizen, we're going to be able to do big things and hopefully grow with it. But this channel, we've started it to kind of build up the hype for Star Citizen as well. I don't think he needs it because I think there's already a lot of hype for Star Citizen. But we're going to try to hype it up. We're going to talk about individual things on the program, and but we're also going to talk a little bit about, just in general, the universe, and just basically share our personal opinions. And if you don't agree with them, deal with it. And if you do agree with them, deal with it. Okay, so we're going to go into the first topic, really. And the first topic is, what are we doing in the real world to get ready for the imminent release of Star Citizen? Yeah, dogfighting modules come out, but that's not all of Star Citizen. The whole... like Katz was talking about, the merchanting, that's a whole big aspect of the persistent universe. But what are we doing? Like, what kind of games are we playing, or what are we doing at home? Are you doing yoga to get ready for Star Citizen? I mean, like, what are we doing? Parasite, what are you doing?
At the present time, Mr. Reedy, I've broken out my old joystick for now. I actually have a Freedom 2.4. I think it's been a while since a lot of people have used joysticks like this. This is a wireless joystick.
Okay.
Eventually, what I plan to do is, I got to fix my wife's computer first. But as soon as I upgrade hers, one of the first things I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be getting myself a couple of 660s, 660 video cards, NVIDIA cards, hooking them up in tandem. So I've got, so I've got some excellent video to work with. Although right now, with the video card I have, it's been perfect. But I'm looking forward to also working with. I've never really worked with the kind of what you've got as far as IR tracker and the controller. But I'm looking forward to getting those eventually.
Okay, so you're getting reacquainted with your joystick?
I am getting reacquainted with my joystick, but
Okay.
I've already asked a couple of the guys. I already told a couple of guys they're going to have to step up, join us, and reteach me.
Yeah, the joysticks. There's a little bit of learning curve there, especially if you're not like used to flying with a joystick.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and what about? And I know we're doing a lot of MechWarrior Online, so you don't use a joystick in that either. So.
No, I don't. I actually use a keyboard. It's actually been much easier for me. I got accustomed to working with. I grew up with a keyboard, so definitely, yeah, it's a lot easier for me to use it.
Okay, so yeah, and I'm not. I have mixed feelings about joysticks and keyboard, but we'll talk about that when we start talking about this dogfighting module.
Yeah.
Katz, tell us a little bit about what you're doing to prepare for Star Citizen.
Well, some of the things I'm doing is lately I've been playing a lot of War Thunder, trying to get better at that, even though I suck. I've been trying to do that, trying to find other games out there that are similar, I guess, to it. Like I've heard a game X3 Terra Conflict, I think is what it's called, Terran Conflict. It's very similar.
The X series.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't actually gotten a chance to play it yet, but I've heard it's very similar to it. So I'm kind of looking forward to trying that out and trying to get some feel of what the game might. Other things I'm doing is I'm trying to save up a little cash here and there to eventually try and buy an Oculus Rift. Actually get the same joystick you have, the X55 Rhino.
Yeah.
Looked up, it's relatively-ish cheap compared to some of the higher-end $600 to $800 joysticks I've seen. So I'm like $200, $250. Yeah, I can pull that off. On top of that, I've been just trying to get as many friends and people interested in the game as possible. Really, I have a couple friends that are interested, but they haven't joined at all. They have no packages or anything like that. I spread the word of the game around. That's pretty much what I'm doing to get ready for the game.
Okay. Well, I can tell you what I've been doing to get ready for the game. trying to work with my new joystick, the X55. A lot of you guys have had a chance to check out my video on the X55. I did a couple of like first impressions and reviews of it. You know, it's also a throttle and joystick, hands-on throttle and joystick. So it feels really good. It's an awesome flight stick, especially for War Thunder, because I've played a little bit of War Thunder. But when it comes to the Star Citizen, I'm finding that it's too clunky, where the mouse and keyboard are just so much easier to use during the dogfight. So, but that's the dogfight. I'm jumping ahead. I'm getting off topic. Okay, what else am I doing? I'm getting all my peripherals ready. I'm getting my 3 monitors set up, my track IR, and my my video card ready. Basically, I'm doing the hardware, you know, initially, and I'm playing War Thunder and I'm playing MechWarrior, and we're you know, communicating on TeamSpeak and things like that to get ready. I'm also trying to do a little bit of advertising for the unit to try to recruit a bunch of guys to get in to the unit, because I know our Marine Squadron would do pretty good with, you know, the bigger it is, it's going to do better. You know, that's just the nature of the beast. So, all right, and so that's pretty much what I'm doing. So, okay, great. So our third topic before we move on to cap ships, because I know everybody's waiting for cap ships, but I'm holding that for the last topic. Topic 3 is, let's talk about some current events that are going on in the Cloud Imperium Games universe, the Robert Space Industry, or, you know, just the verse. Something real recent is the Next Great Starship. I know that's coming up. The finale is tomorrow, and so a lot of people are excited about that. Parasite or Cats, either one, if you guys want to chime in, what do you guys think about the Next Great Starship and that whole process, that whole TV series, you know, except YouTube video series?
Well, I guess I'll chime in first.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So with the whole Next Great Starship thing, I actually really like it. I think it's an extremely interesting way of bringing the whole community as a whole together, and you know, allowing us to, like, we may not be able to make these ships and design them and, you know, and have them be like our babies and whatever, but still,
Right.
you know, as the community, we still have this small part of, like, who should stay and who should go, and, you know, what as a community do we want to see in our game that we've paid, you know, more money than, you know, most people only pay $60, $80 for a limited edition here and there. You know, personally for me, I've already fronted up about $350. And I know, Mr. E, you've put up a lot more than that. And then, you know, and I know there's other people that put up even more. So, you know, this game is just very important to us, and to see them doing something like this is really cool, to bring the community together, and at the same time let the community put a little piece of what they want into the game and bring it to life. So that's kind of how I feel about the whole show in of itself. And at the same time, it's really cool to just watch these people, you know, starting out when they just had the gun designs, and so they go from the guns, and then they've gone through the concepts, and they've gone through the blocking stages, and all the way up through all their difficulties. Like I think it's 4 Horsemen. I think they actually got kicked out at one point, or they lost, and he brought them back, and now they're actually one of the teams that are actually going through to the finals. And so it's just kind of cool to just see that whole process as a whole, and just sit back and, I guess, enjoy that. So
Yeah, Parasite, do you have anything you want to add to that, or say anything about the Next Great Starship?
Yes, I actually had a chance to go into the hangar and take a look at them, even though they're non-functioning. I mean, I was hoping I could go inside and look at them, but they didn't set them up like that. So I had a chance to look at at least the outside of them. And what I was thinking was, okay, well, what's fascinating here is that as far as this Next Great Starship goes, we're talking about something that I'd be willing for example, if whoever the winner is, the question is, would I be willing to pay money for one of those? So it's a fascinating concept in regard to Star Citizen fans actually creating something that other Citizen fans are willing to set money down for. So for me, that part of this concept is fascinating. The other is, I mean, I think the designs themselves are really cool. Walking around them, since I had a chance to walk around them, they're a little different, but as far as what Chris Roberts and his crews have designed, but again, for me, it showed some interesting possibilities. A couple of them, Mystery, I was actually going to talk to you and say, what do you think? So
yeah,
because again, we're talking about one of us in our unit actually plunking down real money to buy one day, and wow, or maybe all of us getting together and then maybe Mystery buying it or something, and then we're using it, the entire unit would
right,
be using that for different missions.
right.
So
Kind of like the Javelin Destroyer.
yeah, see, we're already getting into it now.
Hold on, that's a capital ship. We'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, I'm super excited. See, they could have just taken a couple of applications from guys that were applying to be designers on their staff. They could have hired like 3 guys. They could have put them in a room and said, design us a gunship, and they would have came up with some ideas. They would have been under salary. They would have not really put their heart and mind into it. They would have just did what they were told to do. And even though they might have had some passion, don't get me wrong, but it wouldn't have been the same as someone competing to win a tournament. So by competing to win a tournament, you got a little level extra of passion. And now we had over 100 choices that the design crew had to choose from. So that was like hiring 300 people to work without having to pay any of them. And then they made some initial models, right? And then those models got vetoed, and then only a handful were selected out of that. But it's still they still had like 30 people working for them. And then they're making these, and they're eventually, basically what they're doing is they're firing people without ever having to pay them. You know what I'm saying? And then they're getting down to just a handful of people that are doing an awesome job. Yeah, they're going to win a prize and everything, and that's the key. But they're getting the best product for the least investment. So I think that was very smart on Chris Roberts, and it's better for us because now we have multiple choices to choose from without having to get stuck with just 1 or 2 versions that team that he would have hired have made. So I think it's a win-win situation. I'm really super excited. And some of the what you call it, the gunships that we see are just phenomenal. I just can't believe that these guys did it in such a short amount of time. What they've made. I'm just impressed. I don't know who's going to win.
I'll chime in with that. Is like some of the ships. Like I remember watching them as it started to grow. Like concept stage. And,
yeah.
Oh my gosh, I want to fly this thing.
Right.
I want to be in the pilot seat, shooting down a Vanduul horde while dropping off a bunch of Marines in the back, and going all actual like military style. I'm like, go, get out of the ship, while under attack.
Yeah,
and
board that ship.
Brought that, yeah. And some of these ships, just their look had that feel of like this thing will go into battle and bring you back and dish out everything you needed and more.
Right.
And some of them were not as good, but you could still tell that they tried the best that they could. And there were a couple of them that I was actually really sad didn't get through. like I can't actually remember any off the top of my head, but like I said, I know that there were several that I was really excited for. Um, I'm really hoping Infinite Shui Monkey gets through. It's like their designs, from their gun to the concept, the blocking, like I said before, all the way up has just been, and I've been backing them the entire time. And so now that they're, hopefully get through, I'm just like crossing my fingers. Just I want to fly that ship, but at the same time, I want the other two as well to win. Four Horsemen and Shard Collective. Their ships are amazing too. So from my opinion, it sucks bad enough for me to have to see these ships, start from ground up and then see them, fall apart. But it must really suck for the guys in, for CIG, because they actually have to. They're the ones that actually choose, goes, and that must be an extremely terrible job sometimes, because they've even said it. Some of these people have had such great tips and amazing ideas that they don't want to have to let them go, but they have to. I feel for them, I really do, because I would have a hard time with it. But there always has to be a loser in a competition, fortunately.
Right, and just because you've lost, like you've been eliminated, doesn't mean your ship's not going to show up inside the game.
Yeah, even Chris Roberts has said that.
Yeah.
He wants to maybe take have a couple other. He wants to take them like maybe the first and second, maybe the third runner up.
Yeah.
In the game, which is awesome.
Yeah, that would. I mean, he's got all these ships that are pretty much almost finished. All he's got to do is tweak them a little bit, and boom, he's just added another element of ships into his game, which is variety is always good for a game. I think.
And
so.
I mean, and kind of just thinking about it, having one whole class, where they have fighters and they have bombers and they have torpedoes, but when they have just, or what were they? For some reason, I'm thinking assault.
Gunships.
Gunships, yeah. Having a whole class of ships just being community. Like, that is such a cool idea. I don't know if he will do that, but that would be cool if he did it.
Right. Yeah. That would be cool. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about the projects page. Are you guys familiar with that page on their RSI website?
The projects page?
Yeah, the projects page.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's a pretty new page. Maybe I should show people where you get there. Okay. Well, on the RSI website, when you go to when you log in and you're logged in, you go under Star Citizen. It comes down with about the game project status download. I guess that's to download the dogfight module, and then you got the ship specs, and then it goes on with other links and stuff. But this is the page. It shows each of the different main elements that they're working on, and they have different design studios working on each one of these. And as they get released and as we see more, they will be adding more of these little bitty hexagons showing like what the status is. And like right now it says the drone sim is ready and Spectrum Games are still testing. So, and then of course the hangar module is completely released. But then like first person shooter, Squadron 42, the Persistent Universe, PlanetSide, those are all pieces of the Star Citizen game. So what do you think about them doing that, letting everybody see the production status?
I like it. I mean, it's given me a chance to really look at the ins and outs of this game from concept to finished product, as well as looking at storylines, everything else that Robert RSI has been going through.
Right. What about you, Katz?
I actually, I really like not necessarily just the project status, but their whole idea of allowing the community to know what they're doing constantly is, like they've said, and we all know, is something that every game ever does. I mean, growing up, the Halo series was my favorite. I mean, I still to this day love Halo. But you don't see Number 3 Industries posting, well, today we just, made the new assault rifle and this is how it looks, and or we have the idea of the first level coming out, and hint hint, here's this, and that you don't hear them doing that, or for any game, pretty much for that matter. But for them to regularly give us updates while they're making this game, one, it takes time out of their day to do it. For them to do it is awesome, because we put down real money for this, and I've heard horror stories of people putting down money for games falling through and they never get their money. At least this, we kind of get a feeling that our money's being spent where we want it. We can see that, hey, we've put down so much money for Arena Commander, and sure enough, even though this was to come out in December, finally came out, and that our time, patience, our wallets have come to fruition. And so I really like this, and that's one reason why I really started getting into the whole Star Citizen was because having a game designer actually being like, hey, this is week such and such, we're giving you this update on how we're making this ship or designing this new level, and it's like, wow, most of the time you don't even get to hear about that unless you're reading some obscure game article on some random website, and all you get is, yeah, it's in production, or it looks really good, and you're just like, well, that's helpful, thanks. And so they just leave you hanging there for 2, 3, 4 years until the game comes out. At least with this, like I said, we're you don't have this, oh man, I can't wait till this game comes out. I mean, you do, but it's a different kind of like, it's like, I'm excited for this game because the more I'm learning about it, more anticipated I am, the more excited I am to see the depth, and to what are they going to show me tomorrow? What new update am I going to get? So that's I basically what I'm getting at is I really like this setup that they have on letting the community what they're doing. So I love it.
I'm going to say that I agree 100% with what you said, but on that website page, I'm going to be the devil's advocate here. That page is unnecessary because we already know what the status is of each of those projects, and the only way that page can become interesting would be that if they actually put information on that page. Like there's no information. It just has pictures of what we're expecting. Well, we're already expecting those. Now if they had like, this is what we're working on in this project, like in the, let's say the first person shooter portion of it, this is what we're working on, or let's say in the social environment, this is what we're working on. I feel that would be more exciting than just plain old, hey, we're working on a first person shooter. Well, guess what? I already knew that.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that. I think that they could probably do a little bit better with.
But it's new. I mean, that page has just been put up. I just noticed it yesterday. So if that's the case, then maybe they have plans to put more stuff on it. They just haven't done it yet.
Yeah, and they might.
Yeah, who knows?
Like I said, until you mentioned it today, I had no clue about it.
Yeah. So Pierce, where are you at? Are you in the I believe that everything is cool, or this sucks? Where are you at?
No, I think we're still in alpha. We're not even in beta yet.
Right.
So no, I think this is really cool, and personally, I think it's really cool to be a part of the alpha team. All of us being part of this alpha team, and being able to put in our 2 cents as far as the gameplay and the game mechanics. I mean, if for a game player, for a person who's a gamer, this is the ultimate. the honor of being in this alpha stage and actually seeing it through all the way, years, what could very probably be years down the line to its finish, and seeing that finished product and being a part of that finished product.
Yeah, yeah, I'm totally now, as you know, Parasite, and you've been a part of some alphas before, okay, and but I feel like my our most recent alpha that we both participated together in, I'm not going to say any names, but I felt like the development team did not listen to the community when we said, this should happen or this should happen. This affects gameplay. This doesn't. This weapon system sucks and this weapon system's too good or something. I think they just kind of ignored us and just went on with what their plan was from the beginning. And it wasn't like I was play testing it. I wasn't. I was bug testing it. That's all I was doing. I was just a number in the match so that they could see if it crashed. It wasn't that they were actually listening to my feedback. So what do you think about that?
Wow.
That's a previous experience, not this current one. With this current one, I actually think that in Star Citizen, that's one reason why I'm super excited about Star Citizen. I think that the development team actually listens to what the players are wanting and what they're noticing in the, or what they ask for things, and the development team actually consider it. Now, they might say no, and I understand that because, they got restrictions on legal restrictions, money restrictions, development skill restriction, whatever their restrictions they might have. But at least they listen. And then at least they give us a reason like why we're not going to be able to do this, or we are thinking about doing this. And that's what I'm excited about. I'm excited because I get feedback from the development team, and that feedback is telling me that they have been listening. That's actually what got me to originally start backing. And I'm going to share the story with you guys and everybody else watching. I got in when there was a poll on the website. There was a poll. What kind of play are you going to, how are you going to play Star Citizen? And there was like 20 different options. Okay. There was, I'm going to be a Marine. I'm going to be a fighter pilot. I'm going to be a bomber pilot. I'm going to, be a merchant, or I'm going to be a pirate or a smuggler or an explorer, or I'm going to be, and these are all choices that, what's another one? Scavenger, there was something else, but there's like 20 of these different choices. And, the one that received the most votes, almost 50% of all votes, and there was a couple of thousand people that voted, but almost 50% of that was, I want to be an explorer. And, Chris Roberts gets on to whatever the Wingman's Hangar was at that time. I don't remember back then. But he got on there and he revealed the results of the poll, and he said that he wasn't expecting that kind of a score. He was expecting everybody wanting to be a fighter pilot or wanting to be a bomber pilot because of his experience with Wing Commander and that kind of a game. And he thought, since he's making that kind of a game again, that's what everybody's going to want to play. But when he saw that there were so many people that chose Explorer, it made him rethink what they're going to provide in the game. And he said, I'm going to have to dedicate a few of my resources, talking about his employees, specifically on exploration projects, goals, and hidden, Easter eggs and things like that explorers can actually find, because that's what the community wants. And that's what the community is going to get. And so when I watched that video on Wingman's Hangar, I was like, oh, it's time to go give them my money, because that just hit a nerve with me, like, oh my gosh, he's actually listening to us.
Yeah, I really like that story. It's really true that this game company cares about what we want. Like you already said 1,000 times, they actually listen to us. Such an interesting change for, I guess, us as consumers. actually be like, hey, this is something I like, or hey, this is something I don't like, and then being like, hey, okay, let's try and fix that, or all right, cool, we'll try and make that better for you, and then you sitting back and being like, crap, they actually responded. They actually took time out of their day to actually respond and something about it. That's like that's insane.
Yeah,
like
I,
like
I, go ahead. No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead.
All right, I'll go. Like the one thing that I know the most of was with the freelancer. A lot of people were complaining that the freelancer didn't have like the windows were way too small and provided very little view space. So what they do, they actually added, I think they added 2 windows up onto the top, and then they took out or 4. I think they took out 4 braces that were on the windows, so they made the windows look larger. And so instead of having these 8 small windows, they now have these 4 large windows. And everybody in the community for like a week was just so excited that they actually listened to them, and it was just nothing but thank you so much, and I can't believe you guys did this. And it's just that even those small little things are, I guess, are just as important as our big, we want Star Citizen to be this, but at the same time, a window a little bit bigger is just as exciting.
Right. It's all that does is show that they actually listened, and it wasn't like it was a big deal. I mean, programming wise, how hard would it be to move a strut and a window and stuff like that? And you know what they could have did? They could have said, no, we're already done with the freelancer. We're already moving on to something else. But they said, no, we're going to go back. We're going to fix it. The community has pointed something out that's kind of like an eyesore, and so yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, okay, so we've spent too much time on this. Everybody understands that CIG and Chris Roberts, they're awesome. Now we're moving on. The last part of current events. Okay, the most current event is the release of the Arena Commander or Dogfight module, and a lot of you have already had a chance to play it. Some of you have not. And if you want to watch a few videos, I've uploaded a few videos of me playing it. My most recent video was last night where I actually did the 3-monitor gameplay. And I did some fly-throughs of the asteroid field. And I was just... I sat here in my chair and just kind of sat back and just went, wow. Man, look at the graphics on this. I had the graphics maxed out, and I've got my 3-monitor display, and I'm flying through the asteroids. And it was just breathtaking. But you know what I said to myself? I said, I won't be able to fight like this, because as soon as you put some extra ships in there, I'm gonna have serious lag or something. So what I did was I immediately just jumped over and started dogfighting, and I didn't notice any difference. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to play like this. It's super awesome. But what are your guys' first impressions of the dogfight? I mean, like, Parasite, like, I know you've had a chance to play it. Your joystick, you're trying to get warmed up on your joystick. I think I heard you say something like you're sucking. But
Yeah.
but just the dogfight module itself, like, what's your impression of what you've seen so far?
I liked it. I mean, here's the funny thing. I mean, what I was trying to do is compensate for drift and set. As far as the aircraft goes, which is really different than, let's say, your average air simulation, because
Right.
you don't necessarily have to account for that. But so that much is a challenge. What's pretty cool was, I mean, in the dogfight module, I was doing the Vandal Swarm, and I could actually avoid them, and I could avoid hitting things simply because, for me, I'm retired Navy, and that was my job. Was actually, on a ship you have that kind of drift, so it was easy for me. It became easy for me to compensate. The only problem was I just couldn't hit anything, so that was my issue. When I was trying to go after one of the Vandal Swarms, they were gone. And so for me it was just a matter of trying to keep up with them. That's all.
Right. The Vandal Swarm, I was finding playing with the joystick to be problematic, because I would first of all, I didn't have the proper drivers for my X55. I do for other games, but for Star Citizen, they actually released something today about to update my driver, update my control scheme in Star Citizen. So with that, I haven't had a chance to try it again. But I was noticing that with the mouse, in like the first day it came out, with the mouse, I was able to hunt down the Vandal and kill him. And I got to like wave 8 of the dogfight module, and that wasn't too hard. And I still had lives left, and I just was tired of playing. I had played for like an hour. So, just constant fighting, just boom, boom, boom. I got to wave 8. So I was like, I couldn't do that with the joystick. With the joystick, I was getting to wave 3 or so, and but I noticed that I had a little bit more control over my fighter with the joystick. But with the mouse, wherever you point the mouse, your turret will shoot. So if you've got your mouse pointed way off to the left of your screen, your gun will fire way off to the left of your screen. And so I didn't have to be like perfectly in line with the Vandal. I could just be flying near them and still hit them. And that's how I was thinking that the mouse is just OP right now. But I don't know how they could fix that. I don't know what they could do to fix that, other than making the mouse sensitivity like super jittery or something, which I did experience last night. But I can control my own mouse sensitivity, so it would be I don't know what we can do. But other than that, it looks beautiful. The game looks beautiful. The AI, I didn't have any problem with the AI, other than the guys that fly with me. What are their names? Vixen and Warlord. I think they only fire their energy weapons. They don't fire anything else, and they fire their energy weapons up to a point where they start to run out of energy, and then they slow down their fire, and then all of a sudden you see them going bang, 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 bang. And they don't fire a missile. They save their missiles, and they don't. So I don't know if their AI is as intelligent as it's supposed to be or needs to be. And they don't stay with you. They stay with each other. They don't stay with you.
Oh yeah, AI, the ally AI right now is not. Oh.
Yeah, and the Vandals, man, they're like on fire. They get right up on you and they ram you and everything else.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's what I was saying though. For me, it was easy to correct. Whenever I was, they got me once. They only got me once.
Okay.
Once. That was it. After that, I was in there 19 minutes, 22 minutes playing against them.
Yeah.
So, I had no problem. For example, I would actually get an alarm. I thought that was really cool. Thank you, RSI. I appreciate the alarm going off when I just lost my starboard, my starboard starboard
Right.
or my aft shield. That was cool.
Right.
So I knew, okay, I'm going to keep them to my left, and I could actually watch my screen, my radar screen, and make sure that I was keeping them to my left until my shield regenerated. So, like I said, that was really cool.
I just roll. So, like when it says my starboard shield is damaged, I just roll. I flip upside down, and then now all of a sudden they're on my left side.
I think, kind of going back a little bit to talking about like with, I think one thing fix that with is okay. Like I want the Oculus Rift. They're making the game for the, or they're at least integrating the. And with that, I think what they're actually allowing you to do is, you'll be able to fly the ship with your keyboard, but then when you look to your right or your left, I think the mouse cursor is supposed to like follow your look. So if you're looking dead center where the enemy.
Yeah, that's exactly why I got the Track IR. The Track IR is a head tracking software, or hardware. So like when I have this mounted on my headset and I turn my head, the my point of view would change. And they're supposed to be supporting Track IR. That's in one of the funding goals, was Track IR and Oculus Rift and things like that. They just haven't put that in the game yet. And I'm anticipating, like, fly. What my intentions were: fly with the joystick, fly with the throttle in the hand, push the keyboard off to the ways, and push the mouse off to the ways, and not use that. And then, like, when I have a turreted weapon, which is not all the time, it's just it happens to be in the Hornet. And then when I turn my head and I'm looking to the left, the gun actually turns to the left and points to the left. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so that when I'm firing it, I am shooting at the crosshair that my head is looking at, and I'm flying with the right side. And I think that's supposed to be what's going to happen. It's just not happening right now in the dogfighting module.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm hoping to see.
And I can see where it's going to be extremely hard to aim with my head, because I'm going to be turning my head, and then I'm going to be doing one of these numbers, trying to get, the crosshair to be on target. I'm going to have a sore neck when I'm done fighting a bunch of Vandal, So.
and that's one thing is in real. In the real world, that what I think is really cool about the Oculus Rift. In the real world, they actually have helmets like in the Apache. I know. I think it's like the Apache Longbow. I think they actually have where the helmet itself is the main 30 millimeter cannon in front actually follows where you're looking. And so I think with something with that, switching over to the Oculus Rift will do really well, because with the turrets being set on a swivel and being able to move up and down, all you have to do is just look at the target you want, lock on with your missile, and then shoot, and then just look off to your left and go after the next target, and your missiles do that. So I think with the Oculus Rift at least, and Track IR, it'll add a level of immersion and a little bit more level of realistic feel to the game than there's ever.
Yeah, exactly. Because right now I'm just taking a mouse, and it's making me feel like I'm playing a computer game.
Yeah.
Because I'm using my mouse to fly, and I'm pointing at targets on the screen and clicking the mouse. And that does not make it feel like a flight sim or a space simulator. So they got to nerf the mouse. They just got to nerf it because it's just too powerful.
Yeah. Go ahead.
One of the other things I want to bring up was you were talking about missiles. My question right now is, is RSI actually going to implement a fire and forget? Because you're talking about fire and forget, and if you look at a real life missile systems, we've got missiles have different ways of tracking. They have heat tracking. They have, the fire and forget would be, for example, kind of like a smart missile, and when an actual missile explodes, in real life, when a missile explodes, what happens is that it's actually rods that are spinning outside of that missile and essentially tearing up the target to shreds. Sometimes, yes, there are missiles that actually go with full contact, but we've actually shied away from those. We've actually gone away from those and gone more to that expanding rod concept. So my question is that what RSI is actually going to be building into their system?
Well, I can speak from experience on shooting some missiles. I kind of put this to the test the other night. Was I would lock a Vandal. I'd have multiple Vandals to my front, and I would lock one. I would fire a missile. I'd immediately switch to the second one. I would lock him. I'd fire the missile. I'd move to the third one. I would lock him, and I'd shoot the missile, and all three would die.
Okay, so that's a fire and forget system.
Right, and then there was another situation to go upon your expanding rod theory. Was I was watching one of my missiles because it was my last one, So I was watching my missile track the Vandal. It flew past him, turned around, and came back. And the Vandal dodged it, but when it got real close to the Vandal, it exploded.
Okay, yeah, that would be an expanding rod.
So I don't know if it did any damage because of shields or what it did, but it looked cool. I can say that. I saw the missile go out there, turned around, it came back, and then the Vandal kind of like jinked one way, and the missile just went boom before it got too far away from it.
Yeah. See,
So
I mean, for me, I was in real life. That was me. I was a missile expert,
yeah,
and so I'm very familiar with all the different concepts and all the different missiles that in real life that we've come up with. So my question for us RSI, of course, right now would be: are you going to continue on with the expanding rod? Are you going to go with full contact missiles?
I think
Are
they're
you
doing multiple types of missiles.
okay? Yeah, I mean, are we going to have laser guided missiles? How are we going to go?
I know we're going to have fire and forget rockets. I know we're going to have that. Not what do you call it? Dumbfire missiles, where you just launch them and they just travel straight forward until they hit something. I know we're going to have that. I know we're going to have guided, and there's going to be infrared, and there's also going to be radar, because right now I have two types of countermeasures. I've got chaffs and I got flares. So there's got to be at least those two.
Yep, cats.
Yeah, what I was gonna say was, I remember watching a video or reading about it, but they had talked about you were going to be able to turn off your like if you were being locked on by a heat-seeking missile, shut your ship down and crack. So I think they'll have all kinds of different missiles and ways to eliminate the lock on or dodge the missile, or
Yeah.
it's going to be kind of up to you and the split second decisions you crap, you got flares when you should have done chaff, or it was a
Right.
heat seeking chaff instead of turning your engines off. So you died. So yeah, I think they'll implement several different kinds of new things for the 2944 whatever year the game takes place in. There'll probably be different ideas.
Okay, I'm gonna cut you off.
Okay.
There we could keep going on all night about the dogfighting module because it's just super awesome. It's just awesome. But the topic of tonight's is the capital ships, and we haven't even touched on it yet. So we need to jump on the capital ships and knock that out. And so because our time's coming up short. Okay, so we're transitioning to topic 4, which is the main subject of tonight's show, capital ships. Okay, by definition, a capital ship is, wait for it. Okay, there's two definitions. According to the Oxford Dictionary, the definition of a capital ship is a large warship. Okay, such as, and they give examples, a battleship or an aircraft carrier. Okay. Now, in the Merriam-Webster dictionary, the definition of a capital ship is a warship of the first rank in size. Okay, so that would make it a major surface ship, like a battleship, a cruiser, or an aircraft carrier. Okay, so they're very similar definitions, but they're saying that only the biggest of ships are capital ships. So like your corvettes and your destroyers and your light cruisers, those are not capital ships. Okay, the biggest, like the actual cruiser, the actual battleship, the actual carrier, those would be capital ships. But in Star Citizen, I don't think that that's actually the way they're defining capital ships. I think in Star Citizen, the way they're defining capital ships is basically anything larger than a corvette, something that's going to have a crew of maybe more than 10, like a destroyer that we mentioned earlier. Like maybe even a frigate, like the Idris, the Javelin destroyer. They've got listed. What do they have listed? They've got the Bengal carrier. They've got the battle cruiser, which they don't have a name for it. They just call it the battle cruiser. Then you got the escort carrier. And then, of course, the Vandal have a whole swarm of their own. And I have a comparison photo here. I'm going to show you guys. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see that, but on the top, you've got the King ship, which is the Vandal carrier. And if you look kind of in the middle of the picture, you're going to see the Bengal class carrier that the UEE use, right? Well, that sucker's almost twice as big. And then there's there's a harvester carrier. It carries harvesters. Then there's the Mauler cruiser. Those are all capital ships. Those are the ships that are going to have multiple crew members, multiple crew slots. You're going to have hallways. You're going to have bridges, specific rooms like engineering room, stuff like that. Like if you look at a fighter, or if you even look at it like a Constellation, those are not capital ships because they don't have a specific room set aside to do a certain task. Like you don't have an engineering room in a Constellation. I mean, yeah, you got a bathroom, but okay. I think it has to be broken down into multiple sections, and you have different crew positions that go into each section. And in the jump point, they talk a little bit about that. So just first, without going into any details about capital ships, or what am I trying to say? Without going into any details about what's revealed in the jump point, like what do you guys think about this game having capital ships in it? When I mean like large ships that are in the world of us, which we're going to be running around in our fighters,
Parasite, I'll let you go first.
Okay, Parasite, go ahead.
Okay.
Put you on the spot.
I appreciate that from both of you.
You're
Okay.
Personally, I think a capital ship would be really cool, especially. Well, I mean, for me, I'm selfish. I'm thinking of our unit, and I think as far as it would be the mark of the size of a unit, the sheer size of a unit, its ability to actually work together. In other words, as a fleet, per se, or even as a squadron, but. What we're talking about are, let's say, for example, our fighter group and enforcement group actually in individual fighters together with our capital ship, working together with our capital ship, and maybe even escort ships with it as well. My guess would be that the way that RSI is setting this up, if we were able to gain access to a capital ship as a unit, then what we would be looking at is the ability to make a lot of credits, for example, UEE credits as a unit, and distribute those credits throughout the unit, for example. That would be cool. I could see that happening. The other thing I could see perhaps again would be, and all this as part of the Star Citizen world. But Tyken is asking you, Mr. E, to turn up the volume so that we can so that they can hear us better. They're having a hard time hearing us.
Yeah, your guys' volumes need to be turned up.
Okay, let me go ahead and do that.
Yeah, I've got you guys almost cranked to the max.
Is that better?
You sound the same to me.
Is that the same? Okay, hang on. I'm going to turn mine up on my computer.
Yeah, yours wasn't the worst. Actually, Cat's was the worst, I thought.
Mine? Oh, is this better?
Yeah, that sounds a little bit better.
Okay, that's just because my mic sits a little bit farther away from my mouth. I'll hold it closer. Well, while he's doing that, I will chime in with mine.
Chime in. All right, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yep, go ahead.
Well, with me, I love the idea of capital ships. Growing up as a kid, I remember always being like, oh my gosh, like going back to Halo, how awesome that would be to be able to go into one of their, let's say a Covenant Corvette, and being able to walk around in it and being able to go over and sit down in the captain's seat and do being able to give these commands and order full ahead, or go, I guess, or maybe like Star Trek, being like Captain Picard and giving out these orders and yelling at Worf in the back to bring up shields and telling the pilot hard left, and then telling your gunners to open fire on the enemy. It's just always been a thing I've always wanted to do. And so for them to actually find a game that's not just saying, yeah, you'll be able to sit in the pilot seat and just magically control everything, but you literally, if you're the commander, you will literally sit in your chair and do nothing other than giving orders and having to watch the battle map go on and being okay, we need to move the ship to 180 different degrees and get them over into this section of the map while these guns shoot off to the right, and we need to shut down these shields and we need to do that and whatever, blah blah blah. And being able to do that is just amazing. And then at the same time with that, being able to go down and be the simple engineer and being like, starboard engine just got shot out, let's run down, go click on the computer, do whatever they'll have to do it, and bring that engine back up. It's such a phenomenal idea inside of a game where you're going to be fighting against possibly another 100 people or so, and being able to just give out commands like that all at the same time, all going on with these fully detailed ships, is just amazing, and I love it. I love the idea of capital ships.
Okay. I love capital ships too. I'm gonna use Eve as an example because it's not a similar game, but it's kind of in the same genre. It's a space MMO type game. I'm gonna have to turn off my TeamSpeak or something because people keep trying to send me messages. See, people are like dropping messages in the TeamSpeak chat. Who keeps doing it? Okay. I know who's doing it. But let's say in Eve, right? When you're flying your ship, you're not in the bridge. You're not sitting. You're not even in the cockpit. It's a point and click game. You click on it and you click it somewhere else. And when it comes to firing missiles, you just click on the button that fires missiles. You click on the button that fires lasers. Yeah, even if it's a capital ship and you've got like multiple crew on the ship, like 100 people on the ship, you don't ever see any of them. All you see is the guns shooting and the missiles and the ship flying. It's like you're third person. You're always outside your ship looking at the outside of the ship.
You feel more like the ship and not a person.
Right. You feel right. Mechanic, like you're the ship. Exactly. Now, the what do you call it? The in Star Citizen, now you have to get inside, and you actually have to have these entities walking around inside the ship, manning crew positions. These like a gun or maybe an engine room. You might have shields or sensors or something like that. And even if it's not a player, even if it's an NPC, every one of those ship's crew positions has to have something doing it. You can't just like sit in the captain's chair and fly it like a fighter. You have to say, like you said, maybe over a ship intercom, fire on the battleship or something, and then the gunners listening and hearing your commands to fire on the battleship will train their guns on the battleship or whatever, and then you have to rely on your crew to be able to perform their job according to whether they're good or not, and you can't just be an expert pilot. You have to have the crew as a whole has to be expert. So that's what I like. I'm if you know me from way back, I've always been a team sports kind of guy. If it involves multiple people performing a task, like in airsoft or football or even like melees in the SCA, anything that involved multiple people's cooperating to get a certain goal done, that really excites me. So capital ships definitely excite me because, okay, a fighter squadron is the same thing. You have a bunch of fighters flying around, but those are a bunch of individuals working towards the same goal. Where in a cap ship, you're pretty much sink or swim. You have to be on the same sheet of music. You have to be working together in unison, and that just takes it to the next level for me. I think cap ships are just awesome.
Oh, it sure will. I can hardly wait to see Whole Armor coordinating his fighter group as separate groups, separate attack squads, or whatever he's going to do. So yeah, I'm and with us, you and I, on the capital ship. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting. It's definitely going to be exciting. And then, so what I want to do now is I want to jump into the jump point. No pun. But we're going to jump into the jump point, and we're going to go to the part where it talks about capital ships, like page 26. And I'm going to share this with the community, as well as we're going to have a discussion about it, okay? And just kind of share our opinions of what's actually being said. Now, there's a few hot topics on there that kind of sparked my interest, and when we get to those specific areas, I'll kind of like chime in. But here we go. Let's go monitor left. There we go. Okay. Well, this is the PDF for the capital ships, and I'm not going to read every single thing that's on here. That's not really what we're all about. But I do want to let you know is in the capital ship system, they've decided to split it up into a lot of different command areas. Like they have comms, sensors, the pilot himself, the engineering, tactical. Those are different areas, and in those areas you have specific jobs like radar. I'm using tactical as an example. Radar, ship information, shutting down areas of the ship, weapon readouts, hull integrity, shields, damage report. Okay, that to me is kind of like damage control, but it's also radar for and you notice how there's no gunnery in there, no guns, using guns. So I think that was because this was just a general like quick draft, and I think they talked about it and they came up with a better idea. Now they have, I'm jumping to like crew roles, where individual crews, like on page 28, you have different crews. They do certain roles, and they might fall under one of those categories, like power regulation. Okay, like an engineer with power regulation. I'm just going to pull this out and talk to you guys about that. You're going to have an engineer. He's a player. He's on your ship, right? He's your buddy. You know him. Hey, Cats, come on, get on my destroyer and let's go blow some stuff up. And I need you to go into engineering. I need you to man engineering. Okay, and Cats is like, cool. Okay, no problem. And he runs down to engineering with his character, right? And he's standing there, pointing at the NPCs or other players that might be there, and he's telling them what to do. But the overall decision to make is his, because I guess he's got a console in front of him, and in that console it's going to have like a 3D display, and he's going to have total control over power regulation. That's one of these things. He's going to have to decide who gets what power. Are the engines going to get the power? Are the weapons going to get the power? Are the shields going to get the power? The radar? Who's going to get the power? So that engineer has to be, I don't know, good or lucky. I mean, what do you guys think about just that concept of you got a guy who's got so much power on the ship that he's really running the ship. The guy flying it, how hard is it to fly a capital ship? You know what I'm saying? I mean, and then firing a gun on a capital ship, it can't be that hard. It's the guy that's running the power allocation is going to have the hardest job. That's what I'm thinking. What do you guys think?
Well, they actually brought up a point in restrictions. Yeah, they brought up how if somebody you don't trust, let's just go Harris that's brand new to the squadron, you're not just gonna create, you're not just gonna be like, yeah, sure, come hop onto our ship and give him full access, because with what CJ, say it right, you know what I'm talking about. Has said is that there's going to be spying and sabotage, and so that person might not be somebody you want on your ship. They might have a hidden agenda. So they're thinking restrictions, or you're only allowed to access level 1 of the ship's command.
Right. But I'm saying, I'm totally on that, because you get somebody new in the squadron and in your unit or whatever, or he's just a pickup gamer. You just grabbed him off the street and you said, come join us. We need an extra guy. You're not going to put him in a role of authority. You're going to put him in he's going to be a worker bee. He's going to be the guy that pushes some buttons in the engineering room, but he's not going to be the guy that's making all the big decisions. But my thing is, if you got some positions on the ship where a guy could cause havoc, like maybe blow up the ammo, he's part of the repair team, and he's going to make it worse by spraying gasoline on a fire, or something, instead of water or whatever he's supposed to be doing, then you got to have, this is what I'm just thinking out loud. I'm just spitballing here. You're going to have like internal security. You're going to have guards all over the place, with their eyes specifically on saboteurs all the time.
Okay, I get what you're getting at now. Personally, I don't think that'll be too much of an issue. Because I don't think the game's going to be too complicated. I mean, if you've played the game, 50% of it you've been a pilot, the other been a radar, or all of a sudden someone's like, hey, we need you down in engineering, and it's like your first time playing it, then it'd be like, I don't know what. So then I could be like, in the middle of a battle and having this complete new guy sitting there, even though he's that would be detrimental to the whole ship as a whole. One working. But I think I guess I can't really say too much because they don't have any real info yet on how the whole game will work.
Oh, of course, no, we don't. None of us do. None of us really do.
But I think I'm pretty sure they've thought about that kind of problem and probably will have that fixed. I'm sure when we get down to it, it'll be easy as like, okay, let me do this quick tutorial for 15 minutes to figure out how this works. Okay, and then when you actually get into the game.
No. That's not what I was getting at. I'm not getting at any of that. I'm getting at how important. How do you feel about a guy on a capital ship having that kind of power?
Now, okay. I'm on topic now. I swear. I have no problem with it. I like having an officer. Like having, I like the structure because it's very realistic in a real military works. There's somebody up on the top who gives out, go this way, and then that order gets broken down onto his. Gets broken.
Okay, now let's talk about this. So let's say you give your best buddy the role of chief engineer, and he has the ability to do all the tasks, right? But then you have these lower engineers that you give them individual roles. Like, I need you to do the shields. I need you to do the power to the guns. I need you to do this or whatever, right? And you've got like maybe 5 other engineers. I'm just using that as an example. And then you get into a gunfight with another carrier or something, and the hull is breached and everybody gets sucked out into space.
Repair 32.
then what are you going to do? You're going to just immediately stop the match and then say, hold on, I got to assign a new engineer and have him put on a spacesuit and go into engineering and patch the hole. That's the kind of stuff that's going to be exciting to me. It's the fact that you're going to have to, if that's a possibility, if they breach the hull and people get sucked out into space or something like that, that's exactly what I'm hoping will happen with the capital ships. I don't want to fly around in a capital ship knowing that my character is invulnerable because I've got a capital ship armor around me. You know what I'm saying? It's like now I've just strapped on armor that will keep me from dying because I'm inside of a capital ship.
Yeah.
I know what we'll have to come up with. We're going to have to come up with an enlisted space warfare specialist certification.
Okay. Somebody that can...
Yeah, well, no, I mean, that way, see, everyone can take over a position if the position's lost.
Right. We're going to have... Right, exactly. So we're going to have a lot of cross-training between positions in the ship and stuff like that.
Sure. By the way,
yeah.
Mr. E,
yeah.
I do have 2 questions from Tyken, who's been listening.
Okay.
Okay, question number 1 that Tyken has. Will Enforcement Group be running security background checks on the capital ship?
That's actually a good question, and that will not be revealed in a public format.
Second, what plans do we have for role play on the capital ships when he says when we get one?
Okay, I'm totally cool with role playing. Role playing is very I love role playing. I play a lot of like face-to-face role-playing games and stuff like that, and I think and Traveler is my like all-time number 1 role-playing game, and I'm basically projecting my Traveler character personas into my Star Citizen characters, and so I will role-play the hell out of them. So never. No, whenever we get a chance, when we're not fighting or whatever.
I got to tell you though, I mean, when I was looking at the crew status and the seat actions,
yeah,
I'll be honest with you. Being a former Navy, retired Navy, I definitely got the impression that this was a programmer coming up with stations.
Right.
Not. I mean, he never was in the Navy. Doesn't know how it works.
Right.
Didn't know how it really works. But what I found interesting, but it looked like he did have some. Some input as far as, or someone gave him some input as far as how it could work. But
he might have read a book.
He might have. I mean, when I was looking at the engineering station, for example, looking at CPU management,
yeah.
Immediately I thought, okay, that looks like something a programmer would come up with, but not a designer, But
right.
I mean, as far as in the engineering station, I can see where this, where something like this could work. As far as, what you're looking at is that whoever's the engineer is going to have to look at apportioning specifics to what we're doing on the ship, and all that's going to depend on the mission. For example, if we're going into a deep space mission and we need sensors, and high-powered sensors, for example, maybe that might be one thing, and that's going to have to be something that Mr. Everything is going to have to decide at that time when we're going out, as far as, maybe even at specific points where we need to back off as far as, energy going to specific areas, back off on that, and then, in other words, it would actually affect our range, our sensor range.
Right. And I also think I want to interject real quick to put a topic in the middle of your conversation.
Yeah.
I think that the ships will each have their own design, so not every ship will have the same seats.
So I agree. I mean, what I'd like to see from RSI would actually be players. Yeah, I mean, right now we're seeing everything from Mike. But my question is, what about input from the players, and especially players who are real-life military that know how these work, how command and control works on a ship. For example, one of your questions as far as, well, what happens if on real-life ships we actually have that, where what happens when the ship's blown, when it's almost blown in two, but
Right.
it's still, I mean, we've got bare steerage way. Well, what do we do? Like I said, we've actually got, I mean, you had a lot of ships that came up with what was known as Prepare 32, where you would have the damage control. I mean, if the damage control party's wiped out, that means other people have to go in and fight, fight the fire, fight the damage, repair it, and get it back up and running again so we can go shoot.
So what you probably should do is write to Mike Northeast so that he can get some feedback from you.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
already,
do that.
It's already in the works.
Okay. Maybe we'll get a free Idris out of it or something. No, I'm kidding. No, yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm looking at the capital ships as not objectives. Okay, I don't. Like, of course, like in certain missions, in Squadron 42, I'm sure we're gonna have like go bomb the carrier, and then we got to go fly over to the carrier and drop some torpedoes on it or something like that. I'm sure that's going to be Squadron 42 type missions. But when you get into the persistent universe, they're going to be possessions, and you're gonna own. Either units are going to own them, or an individual is going to own them. But if an individual owns them, he's going to have a lot of NPCs on his crew, or he's going to have a bunch of friends that want to play all the time, because not everybody's going to be logged in. You got your chief engineer, but where is he? He hasn't been on in 3 weeks. So you got to have an NPC that can take that place, or another player that knows what he's doing and he can go down there. But you don't want to be constantly jumping around all over the place all the time. So it's going to get expensive to hire these NPCs and then and drive them around with a big ship. That most capital ships are not built to make money. They're not built to carry cargo from point A to point B. They're just a money sink. You are just putting money into that. So you're just you got to be able to generate money somewhere else. So the unit is gonna have to rely on people like Katz and his team to create enough funds so that we can actually pay for something like a Javelin that's going to cost us billions of credits every month or something.
Yeah, I can see that. The other thing I could also see is, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, this is going to take 12 mans to a whole new level. But,
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. But what's cool about the 12 mans? Some of them will be NPCs.
Oh yeah.
So we'll have some AI running around with us.
The only thing I'll just quickly.
What's that?
I remember, a little while ago, people forum post on our page and how awesome these ships are, and I can't wait to own one. I'm pretty sure I just always kind of don't be too don't jump straight on. I have a feeling it's probably going to be somewhat like Eve, where to get the largest ships in Eve I know of, they take 7 to 8 real months to just to have them be like. I have a feeling though, kind of something the same thing. So I think what as much as like with my job trying to bring in fund the whole thing, I think.
Yeah, it's all going to be you, Cats. There's nobody else. You just have to do it all yourself. And if you don't do it, we're going to fire you. We want a turnaround of 1 million credits a day, and if you don't do it, we'll just put you in the firing squad.
Yeah. I don't know if I can do that.
No. So then you'll turn to piracy.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
I know where the Great Squadron is, by the way. I know where their base is. It's great. All kinds of nice stuff.
All right, I'm gonna cut you guys off. We're going way over time, and so what I'm gonna do is spend the next 4 minutes or so just going over the funding goals. I meant to say this earlier, and in what the goals were in regards to capital ships, and I'm gonna start way back when it was only 2 million as a goal. It said nothing. Okay, and then. Nothing. Okay, and then 3 million. I'm up to 3 million. Nothing about capital ships, and then 33,500,000 ship boarding. Okay, that's when they decided they were going to allow us to board ships. Okay, and then I'm just going to keep skipping. Skipping. Here it is. 4,500,000. The goal was Star Citizen will feature an additional playable ship class, the Cruiser. Okay. And then that was 4,500,000. And then where we got here? 5,500,000. Star Citizen will feature the Bengal carrier as a playable ship class.
Tyken was just saying that bounties can be collected by the enforcement group to help fund us.
That's true. That is correct. Shh. Okay. Where are we at? Backers. More Wingman's Basement stuff. Okay. Oculus Rift. Yeah. Okay. At 13 million, they say Star Citizen will feature an additional ship class, the Frigate. And they went ahead and made the Idris the Frigate. And then it says, the same 13 million, it says Command and Control Center. Supervise the battle from the deck of your Idris or Destroyer class with advanced command and control packages that allow you to tie all your ships together and assume central command from the third seat. The one I'm in right here, Okay. And then, so that's pretty cool right there, the command center. So, 14, nothing. 15. Yes, 15 million. See, we're still way back in the 15 millions. This is even before I started backing. I backed at 16. So it says Star Citizen will feature an additional ship class, the Escort Carrier. Okay, that doesn't say playable ship class. It just says additional ship class. But I was assuming it would say playable. Okay. And then 17 million. Star Citizen will feature an additional flyable ship class, the Battle Cruiser. That's pretty impressive. And then space stations. Okay, never mind. Salvage mechanic. And then they started getting into the smaller stuff. Okay, at 26 million, enhanced capital ship system. That's what we're talking about. In addition to the command and control system we've already outlined, we're going to expand capital ship functions, lead a damage control team to fight fires and repair key systems during a battle, control internal bulkheads to slow boarders, and man a number of consoles like navigation and engineering that will make commanding a capital ship feel even more immersive. Okay, what else? Some of these other ships I don't think are capital ships. They're big, but they're not capital ships. Okay. And then I'm at 43 million, 45, 44, and then 45. Oh, wait, 46.
Yeah, we just barely.
And that's a lot of capital ship information right there. I mean, the battle cruiser, yeah, the destroyer's cool. I want a battle cruiser. That's me. That's what I want my goal. Actually, I've got multiple goals in Star Citizen. One of them is to own a factory where we're producing components that people are going to need, like maybe missiles. That's just an example, like ammunition. That falls in line with kind of a military theme. So that's what I was kind of wanting to do. And then, of course, having a whole fleet of capital ships. Now are we going to be able to do that? Probably not. We're not the what do they call them? We're not the Imperium, and we're not the Convoy. So we're not going to have like hundreds of thousands of members. But if we can get one destroyer or two destroyers out there and have it manned by NPCs and players, I think that'll be pretty awesome. We'd fly with the Convoy or with the Imperium or with any of these other UEE. We might hire ourselves out as an escort for a large convoy of merchant ships or something like that. A bunch of starfarers, they might need a destroyer to fly along with them. And that way we can make some money using the destroyer.
And I like that idea. That's kind of what I was hoping for us, is at least kind of pointing a little bit towards our group. But I don't think we're going to be getting a bank.
Nah, not really. No,
There's no way. I mean, the only time we would ever would is if someone was in the exploration group and just happened to come across one. I'd be like,
a derelict one.
yeah, I'd be like, let's fix that sucker up, sell it, and we would be able to buy whatever.
I think the escort carrier is kind of like our bread and butter. It's a
I think it'll be
smaller
the
carrier.
small-
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be just a small little escort. The larger escort. Ships
Yeah.
Is what our little
Yeah,
boat-
we'll have probably about 12 to 20 fighters and bombers on it, and escort some merchant armada or something, and then if they need fighter coverage or whatever, we could launch. Yeah, that's what and we might not even be able to do that if we have to man all the positions on the escort carrier. But what we could do is not bring any of our own fighters and transport another group's fighters.
Now there you go.
We could just be the capital ship, and they could be the fighter squadron or whatever. We'll have to figure it out as the game progresses and the unit develops. But yeah, and speaking of which, if you guys are interested in a UEE Marine Aerospace Squadron, come check out the First Royal Aerospace Squadron. We'd be glad to hear what you got to say. Check us out on our website at 1ras.engine.com. That's 1ras.engine, and that's ENJIN.com. Or you can Google us, you'll find us. All right, Parasite, you got any closing words for our fans?
Well, let's see. The only thing that comes to mind right now is stay snarky and and join us.
That's
Come
right.
on and join. If you haven't joined us, come on and join us. I mean, we've got a lot of I think we've got a lot of ideas in mind as far as what we're going to be doing for the unit, and we've got a lot of unit members that have some excellent, fantastic ideas as well. So I think for us, Star Citizen is going to be it's going to be a very interesting game with some very interesting personalities.
And Katz, what would you like to say on the closing comments?
I just want to say I'm happy to hear, first of all, inside this group that so dedicated to understanding it.
We're getting every other word, so you might want to speak more
Sorry.
closely.
Better? Is that better?
Yeah, so far.
Much better.
Okay, I was just saying, I'm just happy to be in this group and, happy to have, be a major, first of all. And I, second Parasite's comment on, come and join us, because I have never been in a group that's been this dedicated or that cared so much about a game, let alone being a part of it. So I'm just happy to be here, and I hope to see you all in the verse.
Word. Okay. Well, that's it. I do want to let everyone know that we're going to be on again next Friday, and the topic will be, and you'll like this, Cats, economy. It's going to be. We're going to talk about economy, merchants, and ways to make money and ways to prevent losing money. Okay, that'll be the main topic of next week. And everybody out there in the verse that's came out and check us out, tell your friends, tell your family, bring your dog next time. We'll see you in the verse.